Hey y'all, so I'm gonna do this live a bit early just because I would like to get on with my night. Obviously I've got things to do in the morning, so I just wanted to follow up and discuss what I was talking about in the car. And the reason why I wanted to follow up and do a part two to this is because I know that I'm not the only Black woman who has experienced everything that I've experienced in the workplace. And a lot of what I deal with is microaggressions from people who really do not understand Black culture. And I try to navigate those situations as best as I can, given the tools that I have, right? So, the situation that happened today was a situation that has been brewing for some time. When I don't want to really go back into it, but let's just say that this conversation, I have been consistently expressing my thoughts and feelings ever since we started tax season, and even further beyond that. I've noticed patterns of behavior that I just, again, I feel like it's enough pattern of behavior for everyone to kind of see, right? And I do not understand why, again, things are not being done to eliminate what everyone believes is the problem. Now, with that being said, the conversation today I was asked to be a part of. Okay. And I have been working with these people for quite some time. They should kind of know my temperament by now. And the fact that they do not is a problem to me because it says that everything that I say, who I am, who I show up to be, is really overlooked, right? Because if you know me, then you know that I've got low tolerance for nonsense. It just is what it is. And when my job relies on processes that are in someone else's hands, and that person is not doing anything to ensure that processes are being seen to, that processes are running smoothly, that processes are being taught, right? That's a problem. Or communicated, right? That's a problem. It causes internal conflict, period. Now, with that being said, coupled with the entire situation, with the type of relationship that this individual has with certain power players in this situation, yeah, it just is a disaster in my mind, right? But I have been talking to myself and really training myself to understand that what is out of my control is out of my control. This is not my company, and therefore it's really not my problem, right? Not my issue, but it is, okay, if that makes sense. I've been doing some research on this angry Black woman title, right? Because I really brought it to, and I asked the tax manager. It was very interesting how this worked because I'm learning to ask questions, right? And when I put it back on him and I said, are we not as individuals responsible for our how we perceive other individuals? Because if you're telling me that I'm not this person, but I'm being perceived as this person, that's kind of a problem. But I don't see how that's really mine, and that's not to be arrogant. That's not to not take heed to what's been said. But I have enough self confidence to know that if I said everything right and I was actually right in what I said, in my opinion, it really doesn't matter how it was said, as long as we were not cursing at each other and really not going like screaming at each other and all that extra shit, right? It was still somewhat controllable. However, I'm not going to allow someone to gaslight me when I'm having a conversation with you and I know you're lying and you're lying to show people that you are doing your job when everybody fucking knows you're not fucking doing your job and it's obvious you're not doing your job. Like, you're not, I'm sorry, y'all. I don't know how I was supposed to handle that one. coupled with a level of audacity to even think that you're going to talk to me in the manner that you're talking to me in the entire time. The natural, I'm going to put you on attack, because some of the owner said is, we're not pointing fingers. We're not going to do this. What I told the owner, I said, we started this meeting with her pointing fingers. And he just got quiet because it's the truth. So if you're going to point fingers, I'm going to correct you and let you know, hey, sweetheart, that's not it. Let's bring your focus back to what was actually done and what hasn't been done, right? So I hate to say that I'm dealing with race issues, but this is racial. It is racial. A lot of the shit that I deal with at work is very racial. The reason I say it's racial is because why are y'all going to each other about me but not coming to me? We're all adults. You're afraid I'm gonna like snap on you or something? Dude, I deal with 600 plus customers, clients a day. If I was gonna snap on you, I would already done it. Do you see what I'm saying? Because I'm assertive, I guess that makes people mad. It makes people anxious. It makes people uncomfortable because, again, how dare she? I'm a Black woman, right? I'm supposed to be the woman that makes everybody else feel comfortable at the expense of myself. And those days for me are over. You understand? So while this situation was brewing, like I told my tax manager, she was disrespectful because he acknowledged, see, this is the problem. People talk too much, right? So as he's trying to give me constructive feedback, right? And I think he was just doing that to try to show a level of fairness. Perhaps the owner probably talked to him to come talk to me, right? And I guess what the owner told him is I looked annoyed. Anybody would be annoyed in my shoes, including the tax manager. He was very annoyed, and he even admitted to rolling his eyes several times. So the fact that I am even having a conversation with this man about rolling my eyes, okay, good luck with that one, right? But the biggest question to him was, well, don't you, again, if you're disrespecting me, right? Again, because like I told him, I said, I can try to be the bigger person, right? In my mind, I'm thinking if you're thinking of leadership, right? If we're talking about me in a leadership position, then I could see being the bigger person. I don't know how that would have went because again, for me, she would have been fired. I'm not even understanding why the girl still works there, right? So for me, I could give two fucks about them being mad, but thinking I'm the angry Black woman, right? I'm sorry. I like that title does not offend me. I feel like because I've grown up with it so much that, well, nobody's called me the angry Black woman my whole life, but I feel like that's a natural stigma, especially when you're dealing with white people who don't really understand Black people and have never really tried to understand Black people. On the East Coast, again, I feel like everybody could be seen as angry, so it works for everybody. But I don't feel as though when you're doing things that are openly disrespectful and obviously disrespectful, you can't control then how I respond. And I think because she realized that what I was saying is I wasn't being rude, really. I'm just saying it. And if you don't like what's being said, and part of the reason why I was rolling my eyes is because, girl, you said the same thing about 3 or 4 or 5 times, and you're not being effective. Your communication is not effective. Because again, it's still going to boil back to you did not do your part. Right. And if you don't do your part, in my opinion, you have no room to stand on. You have no leg to stand on. You're not doing your part. And again, this girl could try to make it, hype it up and try to make it seem like she was doing something and she's been actively working on this. No, she has not. So in my mind, my natural mindset was, bitch, you're not even being honest, so why do you even get my respect? Right? So no, I'm not going to look at you when you're talking, because I don't respect liars. Like, I'm not a liar. You're trying to save your fucking job and your fucking ass right now. I don't owe you no respect. I have zero respect for this girl, and it's going to be shown because you've earned that. So in this meeting, again, I know the owner because he was like, girl, like he could tell because I was making it very clear. And he was like, well, if someone was looking around the room, what he told me, he says, somebody's looking around the room and everything else. But I'm like, you got folks looking down at a table this entire conversation, but you're not saying anything to them about it possibly being you might be perceiving that they're ignoring you or that what you have to say is not important. I've been repeating myself for the last, what, 6 months? How does anybody think that I felt throughout these last 6 months? I've even gotten to a point where I put everything in writing. He's like, well, don't have it in writing. But I'm like, I got to, because I got to save my ass. It has nothing to do with y'all. Y'all don't have to respond in writing, but to protect myself, you damn right I want everything in writing. You damn right. See, because as a black woman, I will never forget the fact that I'm black. And I damn sure am never going to get so comfortable in a position that I forget that I'm black. That's just not how life works. And I also know what stigmas come with being black. But I've been taught that this is the way. And no offense, I feel better being able to say what I have to say than holding it in. That just naturally feels better. I don't know what to tell people. So I'm a person that if you put me in that position and I've got to speak up, I'm going to. I don't want to, right? I mean, I've been with this company for a little over well, almost 6 months. I mean, it's been a long time. I've been with the company for a year and a half. You know what I mean? So I've been holding my tongue. It's not like I haven't been doing the work. But I'm sorry, it shouldn't have took a year and a half for this conversation to be had and or the girl to understand what position she's actually in, where she stands. So I wasn't, like I say, I understand the logic with black women and how we choose to exercise and vocalize our opinions and our thoughts or whatever. But I think far too often, like I said, we forget that white women do the same exact thing. Like I'm really no different than a white woman. The only difference is I'm no longer in a position where I feel like I have to hold back. When I held back everything that I felt like I needed to say to people, that was probably the most miserable and possibly the worst times of my life. I'm not going back to being put in a cage at all. And so what the tax manager told me today, he says, well, your how people perceive you diminishes your intelligence. Why? Because I'm not likable. Like I'm not intentionally trying to be in agreement with everybody. Like I'm not trying to be in everybody's face. I'm not trying to be everybody's friend. So that means that somehow my intelligence is diminished. Now I could see if you and I are, if I'm having a conversation with someone, right, and they're being totally respectful to me, and because I don't like what they say, now I snap. That's different. That's a level of ignorance, right? And a lack of emotional intelligence, right? But when the situation is warranted, meaning that there's a reason for the action, and it's obvious, again, the disrespect is seen by everybody on the opposite end. Then you can't, and then tell me that I'm supposed to sit there and smile and be like, okay, no, no. You want me to be like an Asian, no offense to Asians, but that's what came to mind. Like you want me to be meek, shy, and quiet, but me being meek, shy, and quiet don't get me anything. For example, I was on the phone today, right? And I was dealing with people paying my bills, right? And I was dealing with a very incompetent agent. I mean, he was good in the sense of knew how to process my payment for my car note. But then I'm asking him, I'm like, hey, I want to make a payment towards the principal. well, because you made a payment today and because it's processing, you're not able to pay any more towards your principal. What? That's bullshit. If I want to pay more, I can always pay more. I don't know anybody that would limit you and paying more. So he's like, well, yeah, and keeps assuring me that he's right, right? And I decided, I said, you know what? I'm not even about to argue with you. Put like in my head, right? So this is me doing the right way. I'm not even going to argue with you. Please get your supervisor on the line. I said it very nicely. Well, I assure you that I'm right. And he's not being rude, but he's really not trying to give me the supervisor either. So now I've got to repeat myself now a third or fourth time. And yes, that third or fourth time is not going to be very nice. Get your supervisor on the line. Now my tone has changed. You see what I'm saying? Gets the supervisor on the line, and the supervisor gets on, and I said, hey, look, this your agent is telling me that I'm not able to pay an additional amount towards my principal because I paid today. And the supervisor starts going in and he's like, well, yes, that's kind of true. I said, that doesn't make any sense. And I'm sitting here, I said, you guys are telling me that I'm not able to pay more towards my loan. Like, realistically, that didn't make no sense because the payment is processing and that I have to call you back tomorrow to make the payment. Well, yes. I said, listen, I said, that makes no sense. So now we're having this dialogue and I'm just asking him questions because, again, it makes no sense. So I need to hear you say this, right? I need to understand where your logic is at this because I ain't never heard of this before. Finally, the supervisor's like, oh, yes, we can make the payment. I said, you can make it today? Yes, I can. I said, okay, then. So why did, in my mind, I'm like, why did y'all put me through all of that only to confirm? Oh, it was a misunderstanding. It was a misunderstanding, right? But keep in mind, the office can hear me. My office is shut. My door is shut. But people can hear me because I'm practically yelling at these people, right? And not yelling at them intentionally. The guy asked me for my card number like 100 times. And so in that process, I'm like, bro, you can't hear me? Like, I'm practically yelling at this point. And this is what I'm telling the guy. So I come out my office and everybody's all staring at me all strange. And I'm like, what? In my mind, I'm like, I know why y'all are staring because y'all heard me kind of going ham on somebody. But instead of asking me, right, what that was. Now, the tax manager and I have a good enough relationship to where they were laughing about it. They were like, damn, bitch, because I told them I don't like customer service people. I don't. I find them to be very idiotic. And I am a Karen when it comes to certain things. I will Karen out. Okay. So that was me in my Karen moment. And I could have done it in the car, but I expected the transaction to go smooth. So I should have been able to do it from my desk, but I was dealing with a couple idiots. Okay. So they're laughing at me, yada, yada, yada. But I bet you, I guarantee you, all the people who don't actually know me were sitting there like, ooh, she was yelling. Ooh, you know. So now they're all walking around on eggshells with me. And I'm like, why? Like, if you, like, for me, I feel like if you care about me, you're going to take the time to get to know me. Okay. If you don't care about me, you're going to sit around and make assumptions about who you think I am, right? And that's okay too. It is not my job to cater to those assumptions. An assumption makes an ass out of you and me, right? So if you're assuming that I'm angry and I'm mad and no, I had an incident where I had to put my foot in somebody's ass so they can do what I needed them to do because they were telling me they couldn't do it when I knew that they could. And the only way I was going to get heard is if I put my foot in somebody's ass. Do you see what I'm saying? This is what I say. Anytime I'm nice and I say it with, hey, I need this done. Da, 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 people don't hear me. They only hear me when I'm assertive and my tone is more stern, right? So in this meeting that I had, it wasn't that, again, I'm aggressive necessarily. I'm just in mommy mode. Now it's like, bitch, you're playing with my intelligence. You're insulting my intelligence. So now I'm going to talk to you like a grown woman. And I'm sorry if you cannot handle that, but we're grown here. My job is not to cater to these folks in their fantasy land of, oh, well, we've all got to be friends and kumbaya. No, 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 no. Because when the kumbaya isn't working, what do you revert back to? It's the same shit that I've been saying. This passive communication, I don't understand it. I'm not here to fucking read your mind. Let's talk. Guaranteed, you know where I stand. You don't gotta question it, right? That's just who I am. Doesn't make me mean. It doesn't make me angry, right? Doesn't mean that I'm unhappy, because really, I went back to my desk and I was good. I took my head off my pen, y'all, and I was back at work doing my thing, chilling, right? Talking to other folks. I needed shit to get done, right? So it's not that black women are always angry. Like, that's a weird word to use, but you're damn right I'm angry in moments where I should be angry. And I'll be damned if any white woman is about to it wouldn't even matter if it was a white woman, a black man, a white man. Like, you're not about to tone police me. You're not gonna make me feel any less than human for expressing a rightful emotion. That's just not an option. So in this situation, normally I would have took my tax manager's criticism to heart, right? But because I've had enough training, I just kind of pointed the questions right back at him, because now he has to do some self-reflection, right? We're all adults here. That's what I said. We're all adults here. I know damn well I'm not cursing or anything, maybe rolling my eyes. Okay, yeah, sure, because I'm being fed a bunch of bullshit. You're damn right. Perhaps that's not professional, but neither is talking to me in a condescending tone. That's not actually professional either. That's disrespectful, right? Neither is not doing your fucking job and expecting everybody to just cater to you, and you're not fucking doing anything, right? You're just going on trips, and you have expectations, but you're not actually meeting them. You're doing all this talking about what you're gonna do, but you haven't actually done it yet, type shit. I ain't got time for that. This idea that I don't know what her relationship is with the boss, but the way she was talking to me is like she oversees me like she's a fucking manager. That's not how that works. Watch your tone, right? So all of these things are being said, and I want to be very clear. I think I'm going to start asking these folks questions when they come to me with stupid shit like this, because again, I could see how that could benefit me in certain areas, right? When I'm dealing with my daughter or dealing with certain situations, I definitely see how not necessarily wearing my emotions, right, can benefit me, right? So I acknowledge that. And like I told him, thank you for holding me accountable, because at the end of the day, real is real, right? If that's your perception and or what you feel like I need to work on, then I can do that. That's fine. But don't think that that negates the fact that I'm going to show emotion when emotion is due, right? So meaning that if I've got a old man picking at me because he thinks I'm a young woman who doesn't know anything, you best believe I'm about to open my mouth. He told me, he said a lot of times when they come to him, the preparers becoming, they're men. These are fucking men, bro. Grown ass men. Okay. They go to him and they tell him and they complain about me or whatever. And the tax manager, he said, I'm usually always telling them, you're right. He said, you're usually always right. And in my head, it's not, I don't try to be right. It's not like I'm just saying things, right? As it relates to my job and what I got to do for a like that. This is my job. So I got to speak on some things, right? And so when I speak, I just speak on some truth. And if that offends some people, then okay. But like the tax manager said, he said, these guys are babies. He said, the preparers are babies. So then how in the same breath do you acknowledge that and then turn around and tell me that I need to, you don't want me to be seen as the angry black woman? Am I concerned with that? No, as long as I'm still getting paid to do, like, we ain't got no concerns. I could care less what other people perceive me as. Then went on to say in the same breath, well, technically though, you're mad, like you're cool. He's like, you're super intelligent. What you're just now seeing that, sir? I've been running this whole ship. You're just now seeing that? Oh, well, I can't live with, well, but he didn't say live without me, but basically he can't do the job without me. I know. I've been saying that on this channel. I never said it to them, but I know this, right? Telling me all these things and you're cool, where you're like the homie, like, we get along, yada yada yada, like you're cool people. I couldn't do this without you, yada yada yada. So how the fuck are you in my office? Do y'all understand? The logic between the two don't even fucking correlate. You're telling me I'm right. You know that I'm not the angry black girl. You know that I'm actually cool as shit. A lot of people just don't see that side of me because they haven't earned it, right? You know that when I'm speaking facts. You know exactly the types of personalities we're dealing with. You know who I'm dealing with. Okay, you know that I have a resting bitch face, right? Like this is something we all know, right? So it don't make sense. The math ain't mathing. You ain't about to, I mean, again, I get you probably had to do your job to make other people feel better. So you had to have something to say to me about the perceived angry black woman. Like I said, y'all, as long as I know that I'm right, because on it, right and wrong, I understand people are like, well, there's gray, and nah, not when it comes to poor work ethics. Like there is no gray in that shit. Okay, maybe the gray was when she was dealing with personal problems, but we passed that, right? So why isn't the work done? Right? If you tell me you're going to have it done by noon and you have it done 3 days, 4 days after the fact, yeah, I got something to say about it. You damn right. So again, it boils back to, for me, is can I sleep at night with what I said, with what I did? Yes, I can. So therefore, it doesn't matter to me how people perceive me, right? Because the people that matter in that company know damn well I'm not what they're trying to claim I am. I just think people have a hard time seeing black women navigate certain spaces where they're having to be assertive, where they're having to stand up for themselves, where they're having to speak up and speak out, right? Because a lot of times, I told you guys, I mean, if you literally go through all my videos, you will see the times where I felt like I was ignored, like I wasn't being heard. I was trying to go about it with the, hi, how are you? Da-da-da. That wasn't getting me nowhere. The louder I get, the more people hear me, right? The louder I get, and I'm not talking about physically, right? Vocally. I mean, in terms of just the boldness, the audacity, the ability to stand on my own and stand my ground. Simple and plain. I don't care who you are. That doesn't make me angry, right? Because again, I could easily say, as a black woman, and just because I have enough experience with this shit that some folks may not have, the way the white girl was talking to me, in my opinion, showed clear anger. If you're to a point where you can't even have a proper dialogue with me, but you feel like you need to be condescending from point A to point B, because this isn't a sit down with me trying to correct me and redirect my behavior. This is a sit down with you, an intervention to figure out what can you do to help this team continue to move forward. It ain't got shit to do with me. It's all about her. But because she did not, again, I think some people, they can't take the heat, right? So we're going to come naturally prepared to attack. From the moment the girl opened her mouth, she's naturally attacking, blaming us for her fuck ups. I wasn't like, I'm not here to hear that. I'm not about to hear that. Sorry, I don't even want to hear nothing you got to say as it really pertains to that. And like I told him, I know software well enough to know damn well what she's claiming, this ain't an issue. The errors that I was telling them was happening with the software had nothing to do with what the fuck she was talking about. I know that for a fact. So we can, like I said, we can, all this extra nonsense you think we need to do and not do is beside the point to me. So I really feel like black women are persecuted in these spaces. Just like I told this white girl, I had to tell her when we were in Vegas. Listen, these white people don't know shit when it comes to racism. Like they're racist as hell, but don't really know that they're fucking racist a lot of the times, right? So we were in Vegas, and it's the same girl. Well, I'm telling her, me being perceived as crazy and you being perceived as crazy are two different things. Right? Just like it was so easy for the tax manager to come in and say, well, I don't want you to be perceived as an angry black woman. Who in this office pays my bills? Right? The fuck? If they see me as an angry black woman, stay the fuck away from me. Leave me alone. That's not going to change my position and or my value to this company. And like in my head, I'm like, do you see what kind of people we're dealing with? These aren't even people whose advice I would take on anything. And if the excuse is, oh, well, you're too assertive. No, maybe you're just too weak. It's not that, again, I could see if I was cursing or yelling and screaming because I would have been fired, right? I would have had some level of reprimanding if that was the case. No. But I think in order to make the girl feel good as if she wasn't being beat up on, and picked on, right? Because I just bulldozed my way through that entire meeting. Then when I felt it was done, I got up, I got the permission to be excused, and I left the table. Ain't nothing for me to talk about. And that's the what's the word? They wish they could have what the fuck I got, bro. That's what it is. Even the tax manager was like, man, you don't know how much I appreciate your personality, but I'm worried about the perceived. No, then you might want to encourage folks to step their game up. You might want to encourage folks to become strong. You might want to encourage folks to not take things personal, right? That I mean, these are things that people should be working on too. This isn't just a me issue. This is a personal issue. It's kind of on them. So I say that to say, black women, I never apologize. Like, even if my boss was to say, you know what, you're fired, right? And I say this with sincerity. It may suck because I'm not expecting to lose an income, right? That part really sucks, right? But in the grand scheme of things, this is what I always believe. When one door closes, another door opens. Period. And when I know that I'm not wrong, in the sense that I know that if I was to go to God right now and be like, hey, God, did I do something wrong? Could I handle that better? God would have been like, nah. Like, I know this. So in that case, I am prepared for a door to open if this door were to ever close because of that. Seen this with H&R Block. It's nothing new. And as long as I'm in Colorado, I'm going to be dealing with this no matter where I go, because I find that I'm more assertive than most people. Right. But again, I'm only assertive when my back is put against the wall. I don't really speak on nothing. I would never have spoken to this magnitude about this situation. Right. If you were meeting me a year ago, I would have just, whatever. Right. Moved on, brushed it off. But I feel as though, because the problems continue, and my biggest fear is we're going to go into 2025 doing the same shit, right? And if I'm striving to grow, if I want my promotion to grow, my promotion is based upon my performance, and my performance is based off of processes, right, that are being implemented or not being implemented, then yeah, I gotta hold folks accountable. It's that simple. That's what I do for a living. So it doesn't make us angry because we speak up. I've watched white women go ham. I had a white woman, I told you guys, beat on my fucking rental, like about to take the fucking windows out of the rental car because she's mad about some shit that didn't even fucking happen. Right? My kid is sitting there watching her, right? Watching the lady react. I've seen white women go ham in the workplace. I guess for me, I don't understand why black women are held to a little different standard. I think it's because of what folks see on TV, because you see black women who will go off and then they'll fight you and they'll do all this stupid shit. That's not all black women. That is not a necessity on it. But understand that when I'm talking to you, I'm very passionate about what I'm speaking on. That's why I speak on it. Do you see what I'm saying? So this perception of the black woman being angry, that is a level of that's a level of racism. That's a bias. It's a personal bias, and you're basing your relationship with this individual because, like I said, nobody really asked me how my day is. Like when they're busy complaining off to whoever, they didn't come and talk to me. They didn't clarify anything with me. They didn't say, "Hey, look, this could be a miscommunication. Can we sit down and talk about this? Can we have a conversation about this?" Like two adults. So naturally, when you're running to go and tell, you trying to get out of whatever future consequences may be coming down the line for you. It ain't got shit to do with me. And or you're trying in hopes to get me fired, but what they're realizing is my position holds too much weight. If I was to walk away right now, the tax team would crumble. It's a fact. They would lose a lot of clients. This is a fact. So y'all, I don't feel bad, and I'm not going to allow people to try to convince me that I need to lessen myself to make them feel more comfortable, right? I believe respect is a two-way street. Right? It's a very much two-way street. And with me, I keep saying this, I'm water. That is my element. So it is much harder for me to not show you who you are. Do you understand me? So when you come at me with a level of disrespect, it's very much hard for me to not return that. And I don't have to disrespect you, but if you think I'm not going to point it out and I'm not going to do it with a level of sincerity, I don't know what to tell you, my friend. But every time you talk to me in a condescending tone, we're going to correct it. We're going to let you know. I'm not going to allow you to talk to me that way. I don't care who's sitting at the fucking table. You want me to look at you? You gonna talk to me with respect. You can't talk to me with respect. I will not give you any sort of acknowledgement. It's that simple. Because at the end of the day, I know what I gotta do is being done. So I know that this company is not gonna hurt by me not listening to what the fuck you just said. I'm not losing money because I choose to look away from you while you're talking. And yes, that is a sign of disrespect, but I'm sorry, you're not talking to me like a fucking kid, bro. And I've told this girl that several times. Her and I have literally clashed several times because of the lack of respect. And what white people like to do is they like to cover disrespect with a smile. I'm not the fucking one. Just like the tax preparer told me, he's an old white Jewish man, right, from Texas. He told me you were never you were like my favorite there for about 5 minutes. I said, "Fool, I was never your favorite." And he got so mad, you could tell they be getting mad at me. But I'm like, "How are you dishing it but you can't fucking take it?" I didn't need to know that I was never one of your favorites. You don't think that I feel it? You don't think that when you come in with gifts for the entire office and don't give me the same gift that you gave everybody else, you don't think that I see that as a you don't think that I'm aware that that's happening, right? When you come in with food, but you let everybody else know you got food to share, but you don't let me know, you don't think that I'm fully aware that that decision is being made? Like, this is where people be fucking up. When you throw little jabs about, hey, well, at least somebody sees your value. Motherfucker, we're a team. You don't know how valuable I am? Oh, okay. You don't think that those things I like that affects me? When I come into the office, y'all want to ask me to touch my hair every 5 seconds because you don't know how fucking black people's hair works. You think I'm your fucking pet. You don't think that affects me? When you're sitting there having conversations with me about where you live and the fact that you were able to live there because you're white, You don't think that affects me? You don't think that when we're talking about diversity as a white woman, you want to pull out the 5% fucking Indian that you got as if I'm not a full-blooded Indian sitting right in front of you? And that's diversity and that's not an issue for me? You don't think underpaying me and not paying me what I'm worth and or the equivalent to the tax manager because we do exactly the same job, just one front end and back end, you don't think that bothers me? Like, I think that white people got shit confused, right? You treat me with the same level of respect that I give you. Anything less is unacceptable. I don't give a damn about your history, who you think I am, who you think I was. It doesn't work like that for me. When I got folks talking about, oh, well, I got a babysitter, for you. Like what? Because I'm black and I'm a mom. You think my daughter doesn't have a father? She doesn't have a babysitter? Like, you don't think those are things I could figure out on my own? When you're telling me, oh, you're articulate for a black woman. You don't fucking think that shit bothers me? Like, and then y'all wonder why black women stay with an attitude, because you're literally critiquing everything. You're taking all of your thought processes and you're putting it on me as if that's my shit to fucking carry. Like I told homegirl, I had to tell one of these girls, I am not a broke woman. If I want to go do something, I can go do it. I don't need support in your hand-me-downs and your fucking Goodwill. I don't need none of that. I didn't ask for it. Every week they trying to offer me Goodwill items. Do I look like I need Goodwill items? Like, no offense to Goodwill, because I do wear Goodwill, but I'm just saying. The fuck? Oh, well, if you need a babysitter, I can babysit. You don't think I got family that my daughter can go to? Like, what? Like, these people are really got me fucked up sometimes. Oh, well, I know it's hard to afford. You're counting my pockets. Stop it. That's why I won't let them do my taxes. Because then if I showed them how much money I make, they'd probably be ready to fire me. Like, bitch. You know what I mean? And it's sad that black women have to go through this. It's sad that black women have to experience this at a much higher rate than anybody else. But this is what we deal with. And I think it's imperative for us to understand that there's a difference in perception and there's a difference in who you are. And when you confuse the two, that's when you lose yourself. It's not my job to make people feel comfortable where they're not really shouldn't be made to feel comfortable. Like, it's not my fucking job, bro. You can't handle the heat, get the fuck out of the kitchen. Like my mentor said, this girl met Miss Jackson today. You're damn right. As she should have. Because I'm tired of holding my tongue. And I should have never been put in a position where I had to hold my tongue. So that's all I got to say on the matter, y'all. Let me know what y'all think down in the comments below. With that being said, I'm out. Peace.